Never knew that life was keeping me. You're so hard to beat.
Hello and welcome along to this live stream for Dorking versus Farnham Town pre-season friendly. I'm Ben Smith and I've got George Taylor alongside me from Dorking. Nice to meet you, George.
Hello Ben, nice to meet you. First time for me on here.
Good, yeah, no, thanks for doing this today. We obviously stream a lot of games, we're just talking off camera. It's I think we've streamed most of the pre-season action for Farnham this year. Mixed bag of results, a couple of wins, but a 3-3 draw at Cobham midweek. So yeah, obviously the boys looking to bounce back with a positive result today. How's preparation been going for Dorking?
Yeah, fairly similar to yourselves. I mean, only the one defeat so far in pre-season. Alfie's been banging form as we've expected. 4 goals so far in pre-season. Of course, a 5-1 win on Tuesday night to follow up from what was a disappointing home defeat, I think, against Dulwich. So yeah, same as yourselves, really, sort of mixed bag of results, but going into the new season and, you know, a fresh set of teams for a different reason to yourselves, of course. I think we're feeling fairly confident, and of course it's a good opportunity for us to sort of get used to this new outfit and push ahead.
Yeah, we'll go through the lineups when the teams come out, but do you think this 11 that we see for Dorking today is somewhat close to what you'll see every day of the season?
I'd imagine so. It's been a fairly similar sort of team throughout the pre-season campaign so far. I mean, only 2 changes made from that last game. So I think this is probably Dorking's strongest side that we're seeing out there today. A lot of faces that have been brought in through the summer, such as Reece Murphy, who of course is a well-known striker at this level and has been fantastic for the likes of Yeovil in the past. So yeah, I imagine this is a side that will see a lot of minutes in the National South.
Yeah, same situation for Farnham. Strong lineup today. Daryl Sanders back in the 11, and just the one trialist today, the left back, got a run out in midweek, and he'll be given another look this afternoon. Only 4 men on the bench today as well. So very interested to see how this Farnham team manages this test against opposition 2 tiers above. We were here a few months ago for the Surrey Cup final, which Farnham lost 1-0 to South Park. Today looking for some positive momentum. The FA Cup begins a week from now at Tunbridge Wells, and I think the players are emerging. Welcome along to Dorking Wanderers versus Farnham Town. Lining up for the Town in this pre-season friendly is Marcin Brzozowski, Jack Dean, Ryan Kinane, Joe Jackson at centre-back, and it's a trialist at left-back for Farnham. Harry Cooksley partners Mark Waters in midfield. Daryl Sanders and Joel Rollinson play in behind Shay Brennan and Owen Dean. And I'll let George run through the Dorking team.
Yeah, so as for the Wanderers in goal, we've got the new man Harrison Folks. Then following is Camp, George Frankham, Williams, Aaron Cole, who scored a brilliant goal last time out for the Wanderers. Then Jimmy Mewitts, Charlie Carter, Josh Taylor, Bobby Joe Taylor, Murphy, and the man who's been banging form, Alfie Rutherford.
Farnham in white shirts, black shorts. Dorking in their famous red and white. Farnham players applaud the travelling fans. Looks like they'll be shooting from left to right as we look on a lovely afternoon. Farnham just going through the last of their warm-up routine.
I have to say, I'm an admirer of the nice clean strip for Farnham.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah. Certainly one that I think a few neutrals will be looking to purchase.
Absolutely. Lovely atmosphere building. Haven't had too much nice weather to shout about in recent weeks, but today certainly an exception to that. Let's hope we get a good game of football to match. A week from now, competitive action begins, so certainly time to ramp things up. Paul Johnson with a statement lineup. But we're looking to keep things tight at the back today, Farnham, after conceding 3 at Cobham. Thank you very much, everyone that's joining us on the stream. If you do have any questions for us, feel free to send them through. We'll do our best to stay with you. So Dorking are going to get us underway, and off we go. Dorking shooting from right to left. Be interesting to see how this pans out in terms of possession. Farnham do like to keep the ball, but that'll be difficult against a team 2 tiers above. Here's Farnham. Looking to get forward, the left back Williams, but that's short and Rollinson was alive to it. John Rollinson, one of the new arrivals this season, man who's played at step 2. Many of these Farnham players have played higher than step 4. That's why they're among the favourites for the title, having gone unbeaten last term in step 5. Goalkeeper with an early touch, and he's given it away to Sanders, who looked to find Owen Dean in the centre there. A bit of a mistake, a lapse in concentration from Folks.
Very nervy there. Very nervy from the Dorking keeper early on. You imagine that Farnham will be looking to pressure Dorking when they are playing out from the back. A very shaky start in these opening couple of minutes from the Wanderers.
Yeah, it's not quite a free hit for Farnham, but they're certainly not the ones expected to come out on top on paper. Perhaps for Dorking, this is one they feel like they should take care of, but that can often lead to complacency. Perhaps that's what was to blame for that error in judgment by Folks, but Dorking looked to progress forward, that one just over Taylor's head.
Yeah, we're just seeing it a bit more, but sort of loose play by the Wanderers, that ball over to Bobby Cho. It's almost somewhat panicky, and they know that this time last week they failed to deliver at home to Dulwich, and almost the pressure to deliver in front of your fans one last time before the season starts. So I imagine that Mark White will want his side to just settle into the game a bit more.
Here's Farnham. Dorking looking to work it from side to side. But they're pressurised and they need to be careful, which they are, but Sanders continues to press from the front and Owen Dean joins him. Farnham looking to force a mistake, but Dorking keep hold of it well for now, but they're not making any progress. Now Williams. They have beaten that first line of press now, Dorking. And that's a interesting ball into Rutherford. And now Taylor. Opportunity to cross low, cut out there by Jackson, but it's a Dorking corner, and signs of encouragement for the hosts.
Is indeed. They're sort of, working themselves back into this game now. Good play from Alfie to spread the ball across. Farnham dealing with the danger so far, and I think the slightly more impressive of the two sides so far.
4 Dorking players in the penalty area. They take it short, and it comes left-footed, and the header is saved well by Brzozowski, getting down to his right. That will be a confidence booster for him.
Fantastic save there to get down low. Dorking can hit sides from set pieces. We've seen it last season in the National League.
Brzozowski forced into early action. Farnham will hope to prevent that being too frequent an occurrence this afternoon. But the threat, you did say, is there from set pieces, and proved to be the case. Cooksey cuts that one out, looks to turn away from his man. It might actually come quite nicely for Farnham here, with Rollinson driving forward, Owen Dean running to his right, and just not quite on the same wavelength there, Rollinson and Dean.
Williams just had to be careful there that he didn't clip his man. Almost dangerous for the new Dorking man there.
Dorking confident enough to play out from the back. That's, again, almost cut out. Brennan intercepted it there, rolls out for a goal kick. But pre-season is the time to get these things right, these patterns playing out from the back.
Is indeed. As much as it's about minutes in the legs, it's also about finding your playing styles. There'll be a lot that Mark Wright will want to change from last season. I mean, a lot of games, particularly at home, they were caught out early on, and these sort of movements are where they'll look to strengthen.
Camp. Shea Brennan not giving him a minute to breathe. Having to put some work in up front. Shea Brennan leading the press. Joe Jackson stepping in that time and stealing the ball. Now a touch for Canane, the captain. Owen Dean the target. It is cut out, but Jack Dean picks it up, and now Sanders, the man who provides so much attacking impetus for Farnham, missed most of the second half of last season through injury, but he's raring to go for 2024-25. Mark Waters having to track back, help out the trialist. Can't stop the cross though. Jack Dean heads out, and it's another corner for Dorking.
Good clip ball in there. I think he almost could have left it to sail away, the Farnham man, and in the end giving away a potentially dangerous set piece, but Farnham still able to sit in and keep the hosts at bay.
Yeah, they took it short last time, Dorking, and a couple of men heading towards the corner flag, perhaps to replicate that. Do indeed go short, looking to create a better angle. This time doesn't quite come off, and the trialist unable to clear his lines. Here's Frankham. Dorking reset. Farnham penned in for the moment. Knew it. And now Frankham. Cool. Looking to spread the play across for Taylor. Early cross from him. Decent delivery. But through it goes. And Owen Dean buys the free kick.
Just overhit there in the end by Bobby Joe Taylor, but again, Wanderers creeping into this game a bit more. They seem to be able to play Farnham out wide and able to deliver balls into the box so far. But keeper not had to do too much, bar that a good save from the corner early on.
Rollinson played it into nowhere really. Here's Cool. Spreads it across, and there's an overlap here, and another potential cross. Fortunately for Farnham, it came for Canane. A lot of the Dorking threat is coming from wide. Here's Carter, and in by Taylor, this time a low cross, and Canane deals with it, but it's going to come back again from Williams. Good spell this from Dorking, starting to assert their dominance. Carter. Nice 1-2. Could open up here. Well worked, but doesn't quite come off. It's going to be cool though. Farnham can't get out at the moment. Taylor beats Jack Dean. Thought he was going to shoot with his right foot. Thought better of it. Here's Cool. Taylor. Camp thought about crossing it. And they turn back and Farnham stand firm, and the defence for a moment gets some respite. But Williams bombing forward, and now Taylor. Carter. Searching ball, really well weighted and well controlled. And cut out nicely by the trialist. But another corner.
It is indeed. Third corner of the game, and Dorking turning it on a little bit more, but still the plays are breaking down. They're able to spread Farnham across the pitch, but can't seem to work it into the final third. And it may be these set pieces where the Wanderers are getting most of their shots on target today.
Yeah, again, a man comes short, and again, it's 4 in the box. This time it's delivered straight away, and Rutherford got up, didn't get a clean contact on the header. If he did, it might have been 1-0.
Just wide. It's a good header in the end. I think the keeper may have just about had it covered, but as you say, it's going to be those aerial duels where the Wanderers are able to dominate in this one. So far, Farnham breaking their host down on the floor and not allowing them to pass their way into the box.
Yeah, Farnham just haven't got a foot on the ball really in the last 5 minutes or so. Harry Cooksley's been quiet. He's a man that wants to get more involved. Owen Dean leapt well for that one, and Shea Brennan will get there. Just giving a little nudge, but wins the corner there, Brennan. Farnham's first of the game. And there's plenty of attacking intent from both sides in this first dozen minutes.
Nice little clip on there, and with the height of some of those Dorking defenders, you're looking at the likes of Farnham. This could be a good opportunity for Farnham to swing one in and cause problems from a set piece of their own.
Cooksley standing over it. Towards Kinane at the back post. He wins his header, but it loops up and into the arms of Folks. Dorking looked to break away quickly with Camp. And now Taylor. Williams. Taylor quickest to that one ahead of Owen Dean. And nicely played for Taylor. Looking in behind the trialist who read it well and cut it out. Cooksley. Now Waters. Can Farnham spring another attack here? They've got the perfect man to do it in Sanders. Rollinson will give chase and not quite keep it in. Looked like he got there, Rollinson, but touch evaded him.
Yeah, cool. Just saw it out in the end, but Farnham now seeming to get more of a foothold on the ball.
Yeah, the more they can get Cooksley and Waters on the ball, the more joy they'll have. We saw the Cooksley able to thread it through nicely for Waters, who released Sanders, and that will very much be the plan. Jackson closing Rutherford down, but good turn from the Dorking frontman. Trialist again, tenacious in his work, wins the throw. Brennan does well, and again just ahead of the trialist that time. Farnham, of course, not used to this sort of surface. Jackson wins the header. Almost dropped for Sanders. And the header back maybe gave Folks a slight scare, but he dealt with it.
Dangerous there from Farnham. Dorking living somewhat dangerously when they do try and pass around the back, and keeper almost getting caught in trouble there from his own teammate.
Owen Dean this time looking to hunt it down. Williams skips past Dean. Still going here, Williams. Cooksley looking to close him down. Here's Taylor. Again they work it wide, Dorking. And the cross comes in. Again it's Kinane who heads away. Only as far as Carter. Mewett. And now Carter again. And it's another corner. Mark Waters tracked it.
It's a good charge by Northern Williams to get that counter-attack going. Again, Warner is able to ping the ball around, but Farnham just closed them down in that final third. Don't seem to be making much use of these infinite corners that they've got so far.
Farnham maybe just asleep there. Allowed the shot corner to be taken. And it's going to fall to a red shirt. Can't make the most of it though. Murphy. Ricocheted around a bit there. But this is proving to be a very difficult test for Farnham, and one that will undoubtedly be useful for them in their preparation for their Step 4 campaign. It's well worked again. The trialist's been caught a little bit out of position. Joe Jackson comes across to close Taylor down. And he's done very well, Joe Jackson. One of the standout performers in pre-season. Very versatile player, as you see today, playing in central defence.
It's a good duel there as well between Joe Jackson and Joe Taylor.
Yeah, Joe Jackson, originally a midfielder, played most of last season at fullback, but injuries and departures meant he ended up playing a fair bit of centre-back as well, and that's where he is today. Jack Dean also capable of playing centre-back, but Johnson elects to play him off the right today. Both Jackson and Dean, both very capable going forward, so it's always a difficult choice. You often see Jackson at left back, of course, and Dean on the other side. But Jordan Stepney absent today, so a bit of a reshuffle. Max Meaton also not here. "18 minutes gone. Best chances have fallen to Dorking, although they have been few and far between. Brzozowski called into action early with the save from the corner, and that kick wasn't the best, and Carter will look to punish. Wasn't the best shot in the end, but Brzozowski got away with one.
Really good recovery there from the Farnham keeper. It's almost the worst man to give it to on this pitch out for Rutherford. Found Charlie Carter, who in the end couldn't find the finish. Surprising from him from close range. He's been clinical in those sort of positions as we've seen since he joined the Wanderers in December of last year, but in the end the keeper getting down well to recover.
Yeah, I wondered if he was going to put his foot through it, just tried to roll it past Brzozowski. Cooksley a bit frustrated with Owen Dean there, wanted it set for him. Sanders winning it back. Here's Waters. Jackson gets that all wrong. Really intriguing contest. Williams. Canane staying tight there to Murphy, and Cooksley winning it back. Here's Waters. Takes his time, looked for Owen Dean, will come for Sanders here. And now Brennan. Waters, he was looking for Rollinson, ball wasn't really on. Cut out by Taylor, now he's given it away. Both teams tenacious in trying to win the ball back as Jackson gives it away. Both teams gone a bit sloppy.
Very sloppy in the middle of the park.
Sanders, a man who is very rarely using the same sentence as the word sloppy. He was looking quickly for Dean again, just not quite on the same wavelength. That's what pre-season's for. That one almost went awry from Cool.
Yeah, you can tell that this is a game in which both sides are just trying to get a feel of their opposition and of their new teammates. Very sloppy passing, almost slowing at times. Again, very typical of an end of pre-season campaign.
Sanders dropping deep. Now Jackson will look for Rollinson, who's made a good run and gets there ahead of Cool. Just looking for Brennan that time. And between Canane and Jackson, they deal with the long ball towards Rutherford, and Farnham have established a foothold, just able to keep the ball for a sustained period. Felt like they needed that after a bit of a Dorking onslaught.
Farnham using these respites well, though. As I say, been some Dorking pressure, but they've been able to break the play down. And
Harry Cooksley tried to win the free kick, doesn't get it. Maybe the slightly theatrical fall didn't do him any favours. Here's Taylor. In it comes, and Canane's touch. Well, he'll say he had it all under control. Could have gone anywhere off his right foot there, but a crucial intervention from Canane. That's a fifth Dorking corner.
yeah, last ditch one there. Almost had his keeper in all sorts of trouble, but in the end, Farnham able to see it out. But very, very cool and calm in the end from the captain.
And it's Canane again, who's won several headers from those situations. One of Farnham's best players last season. And Cool misplaces that one. I think both managers will be reasonably happy with the start. Dorking have controlled the majority of it, but Farnham have hung in there.
I imagine that at the break, Mark will just be urging his side to increase the tempo a little bit. I feel like there is a goal coming for the hosts.
Taylor. And again, it's cut out in the 6-yard box, this time by Jackson. Goes out for a throw. Really good awareness there from Joe Jackson, but Taylor getting some joy on this left flank.
Yeah, he's been impressive so far, Bobby Joe Taylor, and that's what he's best at, bombing down the channels, finding his man. Farnham able to stop his crosses from doing too much damage so far, which will be encouraging for visitors today.
Cool. Will run through to Brzozowski. "25 minutes in, and Farnham looking for a route into this game as more of an attacking prospect. Shea Brennan couldn't quite bring that one down.
Just unlucky there. It was a nice clipped header, and you imagine if he gets a touch on that, he'd have room for goal, but just a bit too high in the end.
It's going to come for Carter. Owen Dean. Brennan turns, and here's Sanders. Big chance, and Daryl Sanders denied off the line, and that was Farnham's best moment of the game. Really good work to get Sanders in there.
It's fantastic link-up play between Dean and Sanders there. Dorking caught napping. In the end, a last ditch on the line to prevent almost certain goal.
But that was a warning sign of what Farnham can do. They've got to defend here, though. Taylor, again, can't beat Canane. So both teams have come close. Falk's not really sprung into action yet, but Farnham certainly was there. And that was maybe not a ball Falks wanted. Dealt with it well. Here's Carter. Jack Dean's had a lot of defending to do down this left-hand side for Dorking. Farnham's right. That's evaded everybody. I think Taylor expected Sanders to cut it out, and then when he didn't, he wasn't on his front foot.
Bit of a loose ball there. Josh Taylor just able to get to it, and I think that passage of play sums up Dorking's afternoon so far.
Owen Dean just looking for Rollinson. They haven't quite been with each other so far, Dean and Rollinson, trying to link up on this right hand side, just unable to make it come off for them. And that's too heavy from Mewett. Dorking are not going to have it easy against a very defensively sound Farnham outfit. Didn't concede many goals at all last term. Never actually trailed at home in the league, Farnham Town. A lot of that thanks to Ryan Canane. So far, Farnham dealing with this test pretty well, but certainly been Dorking that have had more of the ball. Williams, good tracking back, but he manages to evade the challenges. Nice from Jack Dean, and now helped on by Waters. Back it goes to Falks. Williams. Murphy. Rutherford looking to work it across. Waters did get a head on it. Fortunately for Dorking, it didn't drop for Brennan. Instead, it's an opportunity down that right flank. Trialist outnumbered over there. Again, though, the cross not really aimed towards a red and white shirt. Brennan was looking for Rollinson. Maybe an easier pass was on. Carter. Real good shape about Farnham. Making life difficult for the step 2 side. Farnham do have a win over a step 3 team during this pre-season campaign. So they can hang with quality opposition, although Dorking is another step up altogether. Taylor, who's been lively. Cut out by Jack Dean, who's had a lot to do down there.
Fantastic block there, but you could just hear the frustrations of Bobby Joe Taylor's voice that he didn't receive the ball a lot sooner. And Dorking almost outnumbered in the middle of the park there, and the wide man was free in the end, receiving the ball somewhat too late.
Williams dancing into the box. Now Carter and Cool, and the shot from Mewett was never really troubling Brzozowski. A decent effort from distance.
Ambitious one there from Mewett. Almost out of frustration really. Dorking, as I've mentioned before, being bullied almost by Farnham when they try and work the ball into the box, and Dorking now looking to just sort of work the keeper in any way that they can. It is surprised really that Farnham have only had 1 clean sheet on the road so far in pre-season, because so far it's been an excellent defensive display from them against a step 2 side, as you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely been some disjointed 11s for Farnham. Against Cobham midweek, it was a lot of chopping and changing. A couple of injuries as well. But like you say, this is a very much improved defensive display so far. But only a third of the way through this match. Trialist looking for Brennan. Again though, it's Farnham who cuts it out. And Farnham won't have had too much practice with their backs against the wall in recent seasons. Won the league at a canter in step 5. Had a couple of games where they were under the cosh, but for the most part it was a romp to the title. So this is all very good preparation for what might be to come against the best sides in step 4. Taylor. That was his worst delivery of the day.
Ball from Bobby Joe Taylor, it's not like him at all. You'd imagine he had room to run into there, but almost hesitant to try and take on his man, and in the end went for a short ball, which was no problem at all for the Farnham keeper.
And a bit like Mewett's effort before, maybe just a sign of frustration. He's not had much change out of Jack Dean, and a lot of those crosses he does get off have been cut out. This time it's Dean getting forward against Taylor, who does well. Brennan presses the goalkeeper. Kind of making sure they're at it in those situations. Certainly making Dorking work to get out of them. Which, aside from an early giveaway from Folks, they've done pretty well. Kenane's been dragged out of position here. Another one for Folks to work across. Farnham bodies swarming around this Dorking half. But they have worked their way through, and now it's Rutherford. And brought down by Cooksley. You might see a yellow card in normal circumstances, not today though. Taylor again, and this time too much on the cross. It might be kept in though. Cool with some time. Again, it's Kenane away. And On by Owen Dean. Just spun away from Rollinson. Carter. Murphy. Cool. Taylor. Again, looks to deliver early, and Brzozowski comes together confidently.
Good collection by the keeper there. His Dorking deliveries haven't been too impressive in the last few minutes. Bobby Joe Taylor again with somewhat of a poor ball. Farnham will be happy with those sort of deliveries.
Canane. Cooksley. And caught out there, Cooksley. Perhaps too much weight on the pass from Waters, but they'll need to recover now defensively. Williams. And it was helped on there by Taylor, and it almost came into the path of Mewett. Farnham survived, but that could have been ropey for them.
Just a bit low there from Williams. Ball in, but he's been one of the standouts in this Dorking team so far in what's been a somewhat underwhelming performance for the hosts.
Dean's moved out to the left. He's beaten to that header. Jackson. And Kinane's clearance is right into the path of Murphy, who dinks it over Brzozowski and gives Dorking the lead.
Yeah, really unfortunate there for Farnham. Cheap giveaway from the visitors after what's been a fairly solid defensive play so far, and Murphy, of course, there to capitalise. Keeper won't be too happy about being lobbed, but his defence left him in all sorts of trouble, and not a lot he could do about it really in the end. And Murphy now goes level with Rutherford at the top of the scoring charts in pre-season on 4 goals. But just what Dorking needed. It's been a frustrating afternoon for them so far, and I think that will ease some of those frustrations or nerves perhaps in delivering.
Yeah, it was all very messy from Farnham. The header from Jackson went backwards, and Ryan Canane, well, you can count on 0 fingers basically the number of mistakes he's made like that in a Farnham shirt. Just completely scuffed it, and you can tell by his reaction he's frustrated with himself. He does not make many mistakes. He prides himself on perfection.
Yeah, a real letdown after what's been a solid performance, not just from his defence but him particularly. It's one that will be frustrating for him, but Farnham's got a regroup now. It's been positive against the side that's 2 steps ahead of them in that football pyramid, and that will be a positive to build on as they approach half time.
Yeah, and Farnham, who have been under the cosh for a lot of this first half, have had some good practice in that situation. Now they've got to practice getting themselves out of it. They've got to find a route back into this, show some more offensive desire. Not that they've been lacking it, but there's real motivation to come out a little bit now. Just a frustrating way to concede after being so solid, to come down to individual error. But Dorking been knocking at the door, and Murphy duly obliged when he found himself through. It's a really clever finish. Not a lot Brzozowski could do. Do Farnham have a response before half time? Could have all been so different if it wasn't for Frankham. He denied Sanders off the line earlier on. Just wonder if that goal might settle Dorking down a bit. The last thing Farnham need is Mark Waters to be down. Had a couple of injuries, nothing too serious this pre-season, but there were a couple of scares. Cobham.
These moments where Farnham will need their rest breaks, the heat just increasing a little bit more now, and with Farnham now chasing the game, it's important that they use these moments just to regroup a bit more.
Now Dorking would love to add a second. Carter and Taylor. It's not really into a great area. Now Rollinson for Brennan, backing into Farnham. Jack Dean into that channel again, but Farnham haven't had much joy with that ball today. Got to be a bit more creative against an outfit like Dorking.
Dorking looking somewhat more comfortable now that they've scored. Now that they've got that off their back, they seem to be enjoying the ball a lot more and able to pass a lot more freely.
Kane cut that one out. Murphy was lurking. Cool. And not quite kept in on that far side.
A lot of positives though, I imagine, for the Farnham manager to take into half time. It's been solid, albeit, well, bar that goal from Murphy, as we've mentioned. I feel this sort of performance against a side which are 2 tiers above them is, at this stage of the pre-season schedule, the season looming large, certainly a positive one, and wouldn't rule out an equaliser in this second period, with the way that Farnham have been able to catch Dorking napping at times.
Yeah, the flick just not coming off for Sanders. Joel Rollinson, big summer arrival, just looking to find his way into this attacking line. That's another difficult one for Canaan to deal with. Flag goes up though. Dorking haven't tried much of a long ball today, but look to catch Farnham out there.
Almost that freedom to experiment now that they are ahead, and there's no pressure to just grab that goal as there was before, where we saw with Newitt and Bobby Joe Taylor just trying to hit it from anywhere they can.
Nice touch from Dean, and now Brennan. Owen Dean again. Into a decent area, Jack Dean was coming in. Carter does well to get his way out of trouble. Very calmly done from the Dorking man, but it is given away. Now Cooksley. Murphy ensures that Cooksley doesn't get any time on the ball. Jackson driving forward and brought down, and it's a potentially promising set-piece situation here for Farnham in the final minute of the first half.
Wanderers living life a little bit more dangerously now. Call from Carter, but one thing Mark White will want to ensure is that his side don't become complacent.
It's in from Cooksley. It's deep and too deep, really. Disappointing delivery. He holds his hand up. That's a real promising situation for a Farnham side with several dangerous attackers of the ball from set pieces. Farnham. The route back to goal was cut off by Sanders, but that is half time, and Dorking, having huffed and puffed for large parts of that first half, did get the breakthrough in the most unlikely circumstances. Ryan Canane's error leading to Murphy's goal. Dorking do go into the break with a lead. Murphy's just having a word with the referee as the players head down the tunnel. So, frustrating half really for Farnham. They felt like they did everything right. They really had some good shit, didn't they? It looked like it was going to be a difficult task really for Dorking to break Farnham down, but eventually it came through the mistake.
Absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, up until that goal, Farnham, incredibly solid against a side that we know are a quality team for the league that they're in, and that's, I think the first half hour Farnham almost edged it for me. So they were able to catch Dorking on the break a couple of times, and defensively really frustrating the Wanderers. You saw it with Hewitt just trying to hit one from 30 yards, and Bobby Joe Taylor, his delivery sort of worsening as time goes on. But yeah, I think that goal will have just eased those Wanderers' nerves somewhat, and I think the key thing for Dorking, of course, will be to ensure that is calmness and not just complacency, because I feel like this Farnham team can certainly catch their hopes out.
Are you expecting this pattern to be quite a common thing for Dorking this season, coming up against teams at home where Dorking are likely to be the favourites 9 times out of 10? Do you expect teams to be sitting deep, and maybe that's why Mark White chose this as an opponent?
I'd imagine so. I mean, as I mentioned before, this is probably the strongest, or if not one of the strongest Dorking sides that you will see. And yeah, with some of the sides in the National League South, where they're used to playing the likes of Chesterfields and Bromleys and Barnets, I imagine that it will be a different level for Dorking. They are used to being the underdogs somewhat, as we've seen in the last couple of years. So I think this is good practice. But Farnham have certainly given them a good game. There have been no pushovers, and I think they've certainly they've given a good impression of themselves going into their campaign after what was a successful one in gaining that promotion. So yeah, impressive overall for Farnham, and I feel like this will be the sort of standards that Dorking will look to improve on as they go into the National South campaign.
We'll try and talk through this music. Apologies if the sound is too much, but it seems like a lot of Dorking's work is coming from wide. I think the left back and Taylor as well on the left have been very impressive, very involved in the game. Is that something you think is by design, looking to exploit the flanks?
I believe so, yeah. Bobby Joe Taylor has been a key character in that. We saw a lot of that from him last season, trying to bomb down the channels and play the ball into the area. But Farnham, I think, have dealt with that really well. But yeah, I imagine that's something that they'll look to expand on. Since Bobby Joe Taylor has come in, he's been crucial in a lot of the goals that have come from open play. So I imagine him linking up with the likes of Carter will be a key characteristic from this Dorking side this season.
How much turnover has there been in this Dorking squad since relegation? Is it a brand new squad essentially, or is it a lot of old faces?
Somewhat, yeah. I mean, we see the likes of Camp and of course Harrison coming into the team. It's almost like for like, with one Harrison coming out for another, and Williams as well, who I think has been exceptional today. But a lot of the key characters are still there. The likes of Hewitt, of course, Rutherford Pryor, who's not in the squad today, but he's one that's a key favourite for all these Dorking fans. And Carter, who I mentioned, came in last season. I think Dorking very thankful that they're able to keep hold of him, because he's a player that has been exceptional for the likes of Stevenage and Woking, and I think had it not been for his injuries in his career, would have still been playing at those levels. Overall, I think it's a Dorking side that is good enough to compete for the National South title, or perhaps the playoffs at least. I think that's why Mark White was keen to keep a lot of those players with him. And I think it helps as well, going into a new season, new set of teams. You want to keep the team fairly the same. I think you see it a lot of the time where teams they sign a lot of new players, and they just don't gel on the pitch. And I think that's been something that first couple of games has happened with some of these new lads, but they seem to be settling in now. As I say, William's a new signing, he's really settled in nicely. And the perfect opportunity to do that, to settle in with your new teammates, and these sort of games where you're playing sides that you imagine you should be able to beat. I think it's a good opportunity and confidence boost for the Wanderers.
You definitely sensed a bit of frustration from Mark White after the Dulwich-Hamlet game last week. We saw in the post-match interviews he said he really wanted to put Farnham to the sword today. As much as you don't want to take too much stock from pre-season, it does matter to these players and these managers, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, Mark is a results-driven man, to say the least. We saw a lot of frustrations from him last season. And the Dulwich game itself was a frustrating one, albeit a great goal from Charlie Carter. It really was a poor performance, and for it to be their only defeat of the pre-season campaign shows you the sort of standards that he's setting, even though it is only meaningless friendlies, if you will. Mark wants that consistency to be there. You know, a good pre-season campaign sets the basis for a good league campaign, and that's what Dorking will be looking to sort of get into. He's made it clear that he wants to bounce back straight away. They don't want to be in the National South for as long as they were last time, so you can understand those frustrations. I think there will be some frustrations today as well. You know, they haven't been particularly amazing or particularly at their best at times, but I think that goal would have given them a tiny bit of confidence just to get themselves going into the second half and reach those standards that Mark wants them to reach.
And what do you expect the half-time team talk to be, or the tactics to be second half? Do you expect them to want to really kick on and make this 3-4-0, or is it about getting the win and getting the confidence heading into the season?
I imagine they'll look to kick on. I mean, we saw the game against Farnham. That was the follow-up to Dulwich, and they beat them 5-1 in the end. So I imagine that they'll want to go for the goals, and understandably so. I mean, as much as Farnham have been fantastic, I think, so far in this game, there is still that golfing class in terms of the divisions, and Mark will understand that, and he'll want to try and utilise that as much as possible. As much as any sort of win is a confidence boost, I feel like a 1-2 goal is something that he won't be particularly pleased with, considering the amount of chances that they've created themselves, and as I say, the golfing class in terms of the calibre of the players. I mean, as I mentioned before, this is probably the strongest Dorking outfit you'll see, so I imagine he will want to go for goals, but at the same time it's important to respect Farnham. It's not been a walkover by any means, and bar that one moment at the back, it's been fairly impressive defensively. So you know, I expect it to be still fairly tight in those opening 15-20, but all in all, I imagine that Mark will be making some changes to try and keep the attack ahead and maybe get 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, and Farnham, obviously I'm not too familiar with him, but that was a really crucial intervention from him to prevent Sanders from giving Farnham the lead. That was really good awareness and positioning from him.
It was indeed. I mean, if it was for that, it could have been a different story. You know, at that point, I think Farnham were edging Dorking as the better side, and that one moment of quality, that's all you need. And yeah, they've been working Dorking really hard. You know, those sort of counter-attacks, and the two lads, like Dean, I think you mentioned, he's been playing really well. I think he's been the standout for yourselves and then the keeper. So, you know, that'd be something that Dorking will want to watch out for.
So looking ahead for the season as a whole, who do you think are the biggest contenders to Dorking for the title or for playoff positions, for promotion? Who are the fans looking at as potential rivals?
The names that have been mentioned around the club are the ones that were sort of up there last season. So you look at Maidstone, Worthing, Mason, of course, a yo-yo team to say the least at this level. You know, constantly in and out of the National League. Worthing,
I think they are the bookies' favourites.
Exactly. I would say Maidstone, but you know, Dorking have proved themselves in the playoffs. They are able to get through what is a very tough contest. We saw it that game against Ebbsfleet where they were down and out and then able to equalise late on, and that's, you know, that's almost a Dorking way. So I feel like they'll be trying to chase those playoffs, and I'm not sure if this team is quite strong enough to win the title as a canter as yourselves did, but I imagine that they'll be up there with the likes of Maidstone and Worthing, and these sort of games are the ones where they'll look to prove that.
Do you think, obviously it's not your place to necessarily say, but do you think Mark White will be looking at maybe bringing 1 or 2 extra bodies in before the start of the campaign, or at least before the window shuts?
I'd imagine so. I mean, it's a massive squad when you look at it. I mean, we released a squad the other day, and it's all people can say that it's such a massive side, especially for this level. But you have to really, you know, they lost a lot of players that were paramount to them, like Tom Blair. I think he was a quality player for the Wanderers, perhaps unlucky to be dismissed at the end. Of the likes of Cook, Harrison, Mail, of course. Probably one of the best keepers in the league last season. So I imagine that they'll look to make a few more changes. I'd suggest defensively, I think we've seen that they can get caught out on the counter, and the likes of Farnham, with their age, you'd imagine that they'd want those backups, especially with Dorking's injury list, which seems to be ever increasing. I mean, they must have been the unluckiest side in the league last season with that injury bill. So a couple more, I think, will complete this side. I imagine that there'll be a few loanees out as well for the likes of Joel Brown, those promising academy players who deserve an opportunity, and of course, will look to get first team football maybe a couple of divisions down.
From a Farnham perspective, how do you think they can find a route back into the game? Because like you say, Dorking will feel like they can kick on. Are there any areas you felt Farnham were particularly dangerous going forward in the first half that they might look to exploit more?
Yeah, I mean, counter-attacking, as I mentioned, I think has been their strongest point. The problem with Dorking is they've been too sort of complacent at the back. We've seen it in between the Farnham and the keeper, just sort of happy to play it around Carter, just messing around with it in the box, and that's something that perhaps comes from arrogance, the fact that it's only a friendly, they're playing a side that are to be two divisions below, but Farnham are recognising that, and they are really making Dorking work, and they could easily make them pay from that. So I think just chasing the ball onto Farnham when it's played into him, sort of getting up as high as possible, I think that will be Farnham's best route into this game and to getting an equaliser.
Do you think anything about Farnham today will have caught Dorking by surprise? Maybe the quality of their play or their defensive stability up until the individual mistake?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone loves a big win, don't they? And with Dorking getting that against Sholing the other day, it's a confidence boost, and I think perhaps they thought this would be the same, that they could just walk into this game and have the same, but it's been anything but. Farnham have proved themselves in pre-season. As I mentioned, only one clean sheet on the road so far, but they've probably more than deserved one today, albeit that one mistake. And that game against QPR was a 4-0 win, which I'm sure your manager, being a QPR fan, would have been more than pleased about. So I think Farnham have more than proved their quality today, and the game's far from over. I think 1-0 at half time is certainly a respectable score, and from a Dorking's perspective, it's probably one that they probably not be particularly happy with, but I think they deserve more than that one goal, really.
Yeah, looks like a couple of changes maybe being readied out there. We see a few players stripped and ready, or whether they were on the pitch in the first half. I don't believe they were, though. It looks like maybe we'll see a triple change at half time.
Yeah, I believe it to be. I mean, with the game against Sholing in the week, I think there was something like 9 or 10 changes that was made. That's the beauty of pre-season friendly, just able to chuck on like a whole different team in the second half. So I imagine there will be a few changes. We can see some of the lads warming up there. It's just important to get those minutes in the legs.
Absolutely. Yeah, Farnham have only brought 5 subs, I believe, today. Often it's more, but I think at this stage of the campaign, the managers sort of know their best 11s. I don't know if it's the same for Dorking, but there's been a bit of jostling for 1 or 2 positions, but I think by now the managers know this is probably the 11 that we'll see start on the first
Absolutely. I mean, I'd say a lot of those players probably know that they're going to be guarantees for the team sheet, all being well. I think the likes of Williams, although he's only just come into the squad, I think he knows that based on today and the last couple of games that he will be almost a guarantee. But Rutherford's an interesting one, because obviously it's the question of him or Pryor. Pryor was a top scorer for Dorking last season, but then again Rutherford's more than proved himself, not just last season but in pre-season as well. So I imagine that will be perhaps somewhat of a headache for Mark White, but it's a good kind of headache to have. Dorking's attacking wise, I think certainly a bit more stronger than last season with the names that they've added. I think that's something that they will prove as the league campaign goes on.
Absolutely, as the players re-emerge for the second half, it doesn't look like Farnham are bringing the changes just yet. In fact, looks like it's 0 changes. Well, I see 10 players on the pitch, so maybe there's 1 change to come, but the trialist, number 3 there, the left back, has given a decent account of himself so far. Looks like he's going to stay on for now. Left back, a position that was a real issue for Farnham last term with injuries. trialist looking to make an impact, and it's been a real test for him. Aside from that, Harry Cooksley and Mark Waters will hope to see more of the ball second half. Two men that love to control games and dictate the tempo of games, as Owen Dean re-emerges, and that is a fully unchanged Farnham 11, looking to find a route back into this one. Lots of teams around the leagues will be playing their go-home friendly today, with competitive action soon to kick off at the start of August. I'm sure Dorking fans will be keeping an eye on how some of their rivals, potential rivals for the upcoming campaign, are faring. I know that one of them, Torquay United, they're in action today against Plymouth Argyle, a sellout Playmore. Torquay started well in the National League South last year, but off the pitch problems was their downfall in the end. But they're among the favourites, like Dorking, for promotion this term. Rollinson just backing into Carter there, and an early whistle. Looks like the shape, at least, is unchanged for Farnham, so can the 11 that's out there offer more attacking impetus? That's worked out quite nicely for Jackson, who's been given licence to move forward from centre-back. Never needs a second invitation, the number 14. Kept alive by Rollinson. And Brennan almost got there ahead of Folks.
See, that was that complacency we were mentioning before. Dorking almost reluctant to get the ball moving when it is at the back. Harrison very nearly being caught out there.
Yeah, Dorking sticking to their principles, which has to be admired. Certainly making those Farnham strikers work. Folks again with the confidence and a good flick on there, but Farnham would love to just start the second half with a sustained spell of pressure and possession, but instead it's Rutherford now who's pulled out to the left and has isolated Kinane, just a bit behind his teammate there, Taylor. Brennan just looking to find Sanders again, but it's outnumbered there really, Brennan. You can see Briggs, the number 8, is one of the Dorking changes. On this right flank. It's turned over. Daryl Sanders can't punish. He had the goal at his mercy there, Sanders, really. Had more time than he perhaps realised.
Yeah, almost a bit nervy there from Sanders. Just didn't expect the ball to fall at his feet so easily. Weak effort in the end, but it's a start that Farnham would have hoped for.
Yeah, and a warning sign for Dorking. Farnham have come out in this second half with intent. Daryl Sanders has been the man that both of Farnham's best chances have fallen to, and they wouldn't have wanted anyone else but him. Dean. Farnham lose it. Can't say they've not had their chances here, Farnham. And some encouragement with 42 minutes to go. Owen Dean leaps and wins it, but Dorking with a chance to clear, but comes to Cooksley, and Rollinson helped it on towards Brennan, just didn't quite reach him. Here's Cooksley. Now Waters. The trialist able to get a decent shot off there, on target with his right foot. Plenty behind it, just straight down the keeper's throat, unfortunately for him.
Low effort, but making Harrison work, which is what I imagine.
Substitutes combined there, and now Briggs with no flag. Look tight. Towards the edge of the box to Murphy, the goal scorer. Dorking take their time. Cool. Murphy. Farnham battling well to win it back. Cooksley with a step over, vintage Cooksley step over, and brought down.
Just caught him a bit late there. Just needs to be careful there, cool. Referee just having a word.
Farnham already in the second half, showing a bit more intent from an attacking perspective. That one's dealt with. Jack Dean did well. Forward by Kinane. And really well kept alive there by Dean. Brennan happy to hold on to it. Quickly forced back to Jackson. Now Waters, pressurised. Holds on to it. Does really well to release Brennan. And he's onside here, Shea Brennan, and he has equalised for Farnham Town. Well, a very similar finish to the one that Murphy provided to give Dorking the lead. And 5 minutes into the second half, Farnham are level.
Yeah, brilliant goal from Brennan, almost like for like with the Murphy goal that we saw in the first half. Farnham been the better side in these opening few minutes, and we said that they just need to continue catching Dorking on the break. Exactly what they've done, one ball over the top, and in the end a lovely little dink finish for Brennan, and first goal in the last four for him. What a way to get it as well.
Yeah, he got a couple of goals against Langley Brennan on his first outing for Farnham. Bit of a mini dry spell since, but he's such a elite finisher. Top scorer last season in the league that Farnham won for Tooting and Mitcham, who were certainly not one of the better teams in the league, but he was by far and away the top goal scorer. Farnham went out and got their man this summer, and they'll be hoping for more finishes like that. It was a really good run as well, but they have to keep their concentration. It's bobbling around, and it fortunately falls to Kinane. Yeah, it was good work from Mark Waters initially as well. The build up to that goal. And that was loose, and Owen Dean perhaps on his heels a bit, but he collects. Farnham with belief. Well, this first 8 minutes of the second half, it's in a completely different Farnham.
As indeed. And a completely different Dorking as well. Been incredibly sloppy. And you can see that goal has really got into the heads of those Dorking players. Not able to pick out a pass now, whereas the last 5 minutes, the first half, they seem so cool on the ball.
Lovely interplay there between Dean and Sanders. And whatever was said in that half-time team talk is paying dividends. Now Farnham look the most likely. Jack Dean gets the cross in. Sanders was there, and the trialist is onto it. And Rollinson's there. Decent effort from him. It's all Farnham.
Bad effort there, worth taking. Just caught it a bit too awkwardly, but incredible start to this second period for Farnham.
Yeah, and they're going to try and keep this momentum going by introducing a couple of fresh faces. And Shea Brennan, who has got his goal, is going to make way. And so is Daryl Sanders. And I think Dorking will be pretty happy to see the back of both of these two. Lewis Flatman and Duarte Martins are the two replacements.
Yeah, they've been exceptional this so far, and the link-up play between them has really caused Dorking some problems, as we've seen, particularly in that first half. And with these fresh legs, could be the bolster to the attack that edges Farnham on in this game.
Yeah, Martin's another summer arrival from Stoneham. Like Brennan, another big goal scorer. Upwards of 30 goals last term in Step 5. Martins and Flatman, of course, a Farnham stalwart by this squad standards, with all the new faces. Here's Briggs. Taylor. Briggs, decent ball in, and Brzozowski had to get down and make the save. The near post run there by Murphy was a good one, and Brzozowski did well, not just to save it but to hold on to it.
Absolutely, first real chance of the half for Dorking. Murphy nearly catching Farnham keeper out there again, but good hands. And he's certainly been reliable for his side throughout this game.
Briggs. Just wonder about those changes. Taking off Brennan and Sanders. Obviously they were pre-planned, but two individuals that were very much causing problems for Dorking. Obviously Flatman and Martins more than capable of following suit. Briggs. Now Carter. And the trialist steps in to win it not once but twice, and Kinane gets it half clear. Briggs. Fuller. Taylor. In it comes from Briggs, and the header at the near post. It's actually going to be a goal kick, and I think he's got that wrong, the linesman. It clearly came off Kinane. He walks away from the situation, but Rutherford just got a glancing touch on that. He needed to get a bit more on it.
Just a bit too high in the end. Dorking just throwing into half a little bit more, but almost 15 minutes in, and the Farnham keeper's not had a great deal to do so far, and I'm sure his side will be more than happy with how this half has panned out.
It was missed by the trialist, and the crowd urging Rutherford on, but Jackson stands his ground, and you hear the groans, the frustration that he couldn't make more of that. But they take it quickly, Dorking, and they've really got a bit between their teeth. They would hate to come away from this for anything other than a win. We were just talking at half time about them running up the score, but now it's an altogether different proposition.
Farnham will, I imagine, will look to sit in and really frustrate Dorking now. Dorking been punished for the almost arrogance that we mentioned before as well, in terms of expecting to come into this game like they did in the game against Sholing and turn over their opposition.
That was very wasteful. Just over half an hour remain. Martin's going up, looking to keep that alive for Owen Dean, who slides on the surface. Martin's chasing this one down. Flatman also pressing from the front. That one almost bounced off Farnham's number 9, but Dorking do beat the press and progress up the pitch here, with Taylor and Dean again going together. This time Cooksy's penalised.
Sense those frustrations are coming back just a tiny bit for the Wanderers. And just little niggling fouls, as we saw early on. You imagine that they'll revert back to trying to shoot from range, just trying to test the keeper any way that they can.
Jack Dean got the header. Back it comes for Taylor. Now Cool. And Jack Dean stood firm, but they still have it here, Dorking. Carter. And Jack Dean not quite able to stop the cross, but he at least made life difficult there for Carter. And looks like both teams are going to go to their benches. Kai Tanner being readied for Farnham, a man who scored one of the equalizers at Cobham midweek. Made it 2-2 in the 3-3 draw. Looks like Rutherford's races run, and Williams as well for Dorking.
Yeah, Farnham just showing their quality and being able to get back from behind again as they did in midweek. Of course, a very different opposition this time out, but the resilience in continuing to chase the game and grabbing that equaliser has been on show.
Yeah, and that was also the case when Farnham won the title, the game at Jersey that clinched it. They were 2-0 down, needed a point to win the title and got 2 late goals. So it is in their DNA. That's a good delivery, and the trialist just did enough there to put Briggs off at the back post. Really smart defending.
Confirmation, double substitution for Wanderers in the 61st minute. Leaving the field was number 10, Alfie Rutherford, and number 24, Jordan Williams, replaced by number 6, Niall McManus, number 33, Hayden Gale.
Certainly given a good account of himself, the Farnham left back on trial at the club. Both defensively and offensively, as Martins looks to chase this one down. Not quite got into it yet, Duarte Martins. But he remains hungry. As Jack Dean now presses. And he wins it. And he felt he was fouled there. Right in front of the linesman. Not interested.
Yeah, nothing in that for me, but Farnham doing really well to give chase. Pressure the balls out from Harrison's goal.
Farnham don't get that decision either.
Was number 15, Joel Rollinson, and coming on was number 46, Kai Tanner.
Just being confirmed there that it was Joel Rollinson that made way for Tanner. Here's Carter. Good tackle there by Jackson. The referee felt there was contact on the Dorking player's foot. McManus, the one that went down. Since that early corner, Dorking haven't made too many chances from these sort of situations. And it's that sort of delivery that is the reason why.
Real waste from Aaron Cool.
Briggs, clever feet from him. Cooksley came across well though, helping out the trialist left back. Martins wins the header, and Flatman looked to release Martins, just not the best ball down the line there from the Farnham forward.
Finally able to deal with the danger well there, but really wasteful from Dorking.
Again, Farnham almost capitalising on perhaps overconfidence at the back from Dorking, but forward they come. They continue to pass it around. Here's Flatman in the middle of the goal. Tried to control with his head. Canane was the one pressing forward and winning that high up the pitch. Fuller. Taylor. That's cut out by Dean. And luckily the touch from Dean was a bit heavy. Obviously it was an interception. There's not much he could have done about it, but that could have been fruitful. Farnham are just looking dangerous. Cooksley irritated at Tanner's touch. Flatman tells him to calm down. Trialist let that one run, and Briggs can punish that. Looks exhausted, the trialist. That's nicely worked. And the cross did not need to be so heavy. Plenty of players in the box, just had to be rolled across to one of them.
It was almost a panicked cross there into the box. I could sense the clock ticking away. It was a nice little move to work it upfield, but once again, Dorking wasteful with their deliveries. Far too easy for Farnham to deal with.
Flatman will chase. Will come through to Folks. Now Briggs. Taylor. Can Dorking make their quality show here in the last quarter of this pre-season friendly? Carter keeps it in for Briggs. Now Fuller. Dorking conceded a few chances, but just looking to establish some control here. Jackson tracks Briggs and dispossesses him. Carter. Looking to thread it through the eye of a needle there, but Waters not allowing that to happen.
Nice link-up play there between Fuller and Briggs. Carter getting involved as well, but just not able to work it from those wide positions. They're almost just standing off these Farnham players now, Dorking.
Farnham sensing something here. got to ride out these passages. Dorking haven't created as much as they would have liked. And Mark White will be desperate for a response, and that one's gone awry. Luckily no Farnham players in the area where that one ended up. Maybe just one or two starting to tire in Farnham jerseys. And another trialist is going to be called upon here for Farnham. It's going to get just over 20 minutes. Referee wants a substitute to be made before Dorking resume. And Owen Dean, good 70 minutes in the legs for him. Replaced by Farnham's second trialist for the afternoon. Fuller. Now Briggs. And just looked to clip it up towards the back post, but didn't get the right contact on it.
Good speed there as well from Fuller, just to bomb out the pitch. Briggs just too heavy there on the cross. See a Dorking change being made as well, probably in response to the lack of opportunities that's been created.
Substitution for the Wanderers in the 71st minute, leaving the field, number 25, Alan Kill, replaced by, welcome back to number 4, Dan Pybus.
Yeah, Kill perhaps not quite as influential second half as he was in the opening period. Two Dorking players almost got in each other's way there, but it works out okay. Fuller. And Briggs. Feels like these two are seeing all of the ball at the moment. That's a nice touch. And a decent hit from Murphy, but Canane was in the way. Waters and Cooksley are bailed out there by the referee.
Substitution for Farnham Town in the 70th minute saw number 7, Owen Dean, leave the field, replaced by number 17, and trialist White.
Brzozowski's lofted ball forward towards the trialist, who allows it to drop. Flatman and Martins just being asked to continue to press. Fuller and Briggs. Fuller again, and the trialist slightly caught out of position here, and the ball across doesn't quite come off.
Just skid it across the Astro there.
Trialist does really well there, actually. Wins the free kick. And so many of those situations for Dorking down this right hand side, just that final ball not always coming off.
Absolutely, we saw it in the first half. I think it's more so the case in the second half. I can only recall one real save that the Farnham keeper has had to make, and Dorking will be frustrated that all their efforts in bombing up the field, particularly from the likes of Fuller and Carter, have not come to fruition.
Well, one back there by the trialist. Throw in for Farnham midway into the Dorking half. Looked to maybe ricochet off Coxey, does get a decision. Tanner just being pulled back a little bit there by Pybus, but Farnham retain possession. One for Martins to challenge for. Just couldn't quite head it into the path of the trialist. Carter. Kinane keeps him company, wins it back fairly. And releases Flatman, and now Tanner. And Farnham have got numbers here. It's Kinane finding himself in unfamiliar territory, and perhaps he's not the best man to be trying to pick out Duarte Martins there.
Yeah, just a bit of a wasteful cross, but Farnham, who've been under the cosh the last 5-10 minutes or so, haven't really been able to make any opportunities of their own. Able to do that now through the substitutes, and it wasn't the worst ball to pick out the substitute. I imagine we'll see more long balls pinged towards those Farnham attackers up top, as we saw with the goal early on.
Yeah, 15 minutes for Dorking to try and find a winner here. They had the lead, surrendered it. And I'm sure Mark White will be furious if his team can't find a clincher in this last quarter of an hour. But Farnham will feel they can nick it as well. Briggs in space. Just let it run, and that allowed the trialist back in, and he's actually given away a pretty cheap free kick there. Yeah, it was a take it quickly to Taylor. Pybus. Trialist does well, but it's Murphy now. Taylor. Haven't seen so many crosses from this flank in the second half. That one's cut out. And away by Waters.
Once again it breaks down. Dorking trying to play on the other side. But still no joy. And Farnham look to have got this Wanderers side worked out.
Yeah, from an attacking perspective though, Farnham have just gone off the boil since the changes. Sanders and Brennan were really starting to make an impact. But of course, everyone needs minutes. And Tanner has been lively in the press there. Carter went down. No foul. Referee's let plenty go. It's not going to let that one go though.
Cheap one to give away there, as we saw before with the foul on Briggs. It's that stage of the game where silly fouls are being given away.
Dozen minutes of normal time remain. Murphy. Jack Dean very quick to that one. Not got much change out of Jack Dean today, Dorking.
No, not at all. You know, even on that left channel, Dorking still unable to work it into the box, and a lot has got to be said about Farnham's defensive resilience in that respect. They're forcing Dorking out wide, forcing them to just sort of spray it in any way they can, and because of that, a lot of their attacking chances have broken down. I think a lot of credit has got to go to Farnham for that.
Substitution one was only 79th, where in the field number 39, Reece Murphy, and he's replaced by number 26, Leon Keogh.
Goal scorer Murphy taken off by Dorking. Flag goes up there. Good line there, held by Farnham. Paul Johnson will be delighted with this response from his team in the second half. Looking to keep up the unbeaten pre-season record. The trialist collects, looks for Martins, just cut out, gets it back though, the trialist, and the corner will follow. Kaitana wanted it set up on the edge of the box for him.
Tidy move by Farnham. Could have shot a second earlier perhaps, but working their way back into the game in an attacking respect, and we'll look to make use of this set piece now.
It's going to be Harry Cooksley to deliver. Canane's gone forward. Waters, who scored a header at Cobham, is in there. Martins is plenty big enough to be a threat. It's Waters who got close to it. Well cleared, and Dorking were looking to launch an attack of their own, but runs out of play. Tanner's throw is cut out. It was telegraphed by Taylor, who retains it well. Pybus goes backwards. Canane cuts that one out. Just Farnham unable to win the flick, with Martins running in behind. Bit sloppy. Fuller can't keep that in, and that really has been a problem for them all this second half. Force into mistakes by Farnham would be a polite way of putting it.
Absolutely. Fuller feeling the frustrations now that Dorking just unable to keep hold of the ball or do anything momental with it, really. Farnham happy to just let them chase the ball away from danger. Dorking seems to be their worst enemy in that respect this afternoon.
Jackson. Really good work from him. The absolute engine that is Joe Jackson. That's a nice ball from Cooksley for Martins. Duarte Martins. The left-footed effort had to be saved. Really clever ball there from Cooksley. And that was the chance for Martins. He's been waiting for it patiently.
Just caught it a bit too early there, Martins. Had a man on him. I feel like he could have perhaps taken a touch and tried to round the keeper, but nice again from Farnham. Those clip balls are really catching Dorking out. Imagine.
Jackson wants the free kick. Referee again happy to let play go on. Farnham have the ball. Zowski giving Flatman something to leap for. And Fuller getting all tangled up. Briggs through for Taylor, but Waters read that.
Just another cheap mistake from Fuller. He'll be unhappy with that one. I think his legs are just starting to give way a bit now. It's been a tireless shift from him. The ball's just getting caught under his feet.
Yeah, Duarte Martins with the opportunity just now. I mean, it was a very similar one to the one Brennan did capitalise on. Could have been a third dinked finish of the day. But it is still 1-1 and there are only 6 minutes left. Both sides have had their chances to nick it. But as it stands, you'd have to say a point probably, or if it was competitive, a point each would be fair.
Oh, absolutely. I think Dorking for their creativity in that first half, and Farnham for their resilience in the second. Two very well worked moves for the goals.
Tanner brings it under control, and now it's Cooksley. Jack Dean happy to settle for the throw that time, and there's going to be another change on the Dorking bench. Looks like Taylor is going to be withdrawn with 5 minutes to go.
It's not been the best afternoon for Josh Taylor. He's normally fairly reliable. It's I think a necessary switch in bringing on Joel Brown. Certainly a promising academy product. Someone who can deliver.
That's tremendous from Joe Jackson, winning the ball back and then earning his team a free kick. He's come back for pre-season, incredibly fit Jackson. Looks like he can go for another 90 minutes here. Doesn't matter where you ask him to play. Does an incredible job and definitely a contender for man of the match for Farnham today, as he so often is. Kanane wins the flick. Martins will give chase. Keeper got there first, did well, folks. And you can just sense a bit of disappointment in the crowd that this one looks like it's going to get away from Dorking. Referee lets that one go, and folks had to come quite far out to prevent the corner. Jackson's beaten in the air that time though, and there's no flag against Briggs. In fact, there is a late flag. Just dragged his finish wide anyway.
Yeah, just a bit of a late run there from Briggs. Caught it a bit awkwardly as well, just sailed away from goal. And that's probably been Dorking's best opportunity of the last 10 minutes, and that I think really speaks volumes about how poor they have been attacking wise in this second period. I feel as though there isn't much time for them to create many more chances.
Martins with the header. Tanner just looking to help it on for Dean, just didn't get enough on it. Cooksley. Tanner works it on to Dean. Martins, and was just looking to feed it into Flatman's path and didn't get enough on it. Martins. It was nicely worked until then. Fuller finds Briggs, who takes it in his stride. Across to face a goal and in! Dorking have found the winner at the death. It could have been an opportunity for Flatman at the other end, but instead it's Dorking that score.
Yeah, fantastic move from Dorking, and it's a substitute that's grabbed it. First goal of this pre-season campaign for him, and Farnham will understandably feel hard done by, but Dorking just showing their quality right at the end. Looks to be a victory for them now. Scoreline which will perhaps not be too much of an accurate reflection on their performance, but Mark White won't care. It's a good result against what's been a resilient Farnham side.
Yeah, it was a really positive run forward from Fuller, who's looked to get forward ever since he was introduced. A little bit tired from Farnham chasing back, and the fresh legs combined. Just as it looked as though it might have been Farnham that had the better chances. Canane with another lofted cross. Just evaded Martins, who will be regretting that moment when he could have just slid Flatman in. The idea was right, the execution was just a bit off from the summer signing. That's well won back by Tanner, and here's Waters, who scored a late equaliser at Cobham, looking to provide one here. Flatman, the trialist, is at the back post to cut it back into the area. Settles for the corner as we're just seconds away from stoppage time. Dorking just need to see this situation out.
Imagine this will be the last chance for Farnham to grab something. Fuller just almost giving away a corner there. Dangerous decision from him.
And it comes from Cooksley. It's not quite away yet. Canane back to the trialist. Floats it back in towards Canane. Went to ground. Now Waters. Just looking to keep this alive and keep Farnham's hopes alive of getting something out of this. And that is the final action. Dorking have eventually got over the line here. Shea Brennan's equaliser in the second half looked as though it had earned Farnham a draw, but a late goal hands Dorking the win by 2-1.
Heartbreak for Farnham. I think Dorking left their best bit of quality until right at the end, but victory's a victory. I think Mark White won't have too many complimentary things to say about his side from this performance, but well worked move to win it. Farnham certainly, for their level, have really outdone themselves here, and it's a performance to be proud of. And as for Dorking, a confidence building victory as they look ahead to the final round of fixtures in this pre-season campaign, and then of course the start of the National South fixtures that lie ahead.
Yeah, Farnham have one more pre-season friendly against Bracknell on Tuesday, and then it's FA Cup action at Tunbridge Wells on Saturday before their Step 4 League campaign gets underway at Badshot Lee the following week. But there were moments during that game where Farnham would have felt they were actually the better of the two sides. Certainly not all of the game, but definitely that period at the start of the second half, and until the moment really Sanders and Brennan came off. The attacking impetus sort of went out of the game at that stage as the substitutes looked to gain some momentum. But a resolute defensive display for the most part. An individual error from Canane, a rare one, handed Murphy the chance to put Dorking 1-0 up, and you can see Canane shaking his head. But it took a lovely move at the end from Dorking to win the game. As you see Farnham come over and applaud the travelling fans. But I think both teams will take positives from the game. Dorking, that the fact they kept knocking on the door and got the win. Farnham from the fact they could have easily got a draw against, one of the favourites for a Step 2 title.
Absolutely. I mean, up until the 88th minute, Farnham were on the brink of a fantastic result against the side 2 divisions above them. Of course, away from home as well. It was a shame that their unbeaten run in pre-season had to end this way, but certainly positives are taken, for a side going into a new division after winning the league. It's always an intimidating one, as Dorking will know, having risen up the leagues in recent years and enjoyed plenty of promotions. But for a fixture against a side 2 divisions above them, as we mentioned, against a 90% strength side, I'd say. Makes performance to be proud of them. Certainly established Farnham as someone who could be contending, in their new division next season.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on the live stream this afternoon. Not the result Farnham wanted in the end, but a very promising display at times. Thanks for joining me, George, and good luck for the season.
Thank you very much.
Final score here, Dorking 2, Farnham 1.